Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really get into the stories and ideas shaping our world, pulling out the key insights and surprising bits just for you.
That's right.
Today, we're embarking on a pretty serious deep dive into a true cultural phenomenon. A story that grabbed millions and you could argue redefined a whole genre.
hmm
We're talking, of course, about Stephenie Meyer's Twilight. And to really get the feel of this universe, let's start with a line that I think for many people just perfectly captures its core. It's a powerful quote from near the story's climax.
Oh, I know the one you mean.
Yeah. About three things I was absolutely positive. First, Edward was a vampire. Second, there was a part of him, and I didn't know how dominant that part might be, that thirsted for my blood. And third, I was unconditionally and irrevocably in love with him.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay, let's unpack this. This single paragraph, it's a flash forward, right? It's just a master class in setting the tone, setting the tension right away.
It really is. What's so fascinating here is how this prologue, this sort of glimpse into the future, just immediately signals the core tension. It sets this mood of, like, inevitability, but also inherent danger. It's not just painting a picture of romance.
Right, not just hearts and flowers.
Exactly. You're told from the absolute beginning that this isn't just some sweet, budding relationship. It's loaded with peril. A love tangled up with the literal threat of, well, being consumed. It's actually a pretty brilliant flip of the usual romantic tropes.
Oh,
Well, it immediately brings up this idea that Bella's agency, her choice, might be kind of compromised right from the start. And that's key, I think, to why this resonates. It challenges our usual ideas of, healthy relationships by making this irresistible, built-in danger part of the whole appeal.
interesting. So our mission today.
Our mission is to go beyond just the surface reactions to this hugely popular story. We want to uncover those nuggets of knowledge, about its narrative structure, the really unique character dynamics, and the themes underneath it all that maybe explain its massive impact.
And all our insights, just so you know, are drawn from some pretty detailed analysis and summaries of the Twilight novel itself.
Yep, sticking close to the source material.
Okay, so our journey into this world, it starts like a lot of stories do, right? A new beginning, maybe in a place you wouldn't expect. Our protagonist is Isabella Swan, Bella, mostly. She's 17.
Right.
And she's making this huge change, moving from sunny, lively Phoenix, Arizona, to Forks, Washington, which is famous for, well, rain, constant rain, gray skies, small town,
Total opposite.
completely. Now, why the big move? Bella's moving in with her dad, Charlie. He's the police chief there, which is kind of cool.
Adds a little dynamic later on. Yeah.
It does. And this move is happening because her mom, Renee, she's recently remarried this minor league baseball player, Phil.
Yeah.
And Phil's job means he travels, like, all the time.
Makes sense. Hard on family life.
Yeah, so it was getting tough for Bella to stay settled with them. So she makes this, pretty practical choice to go live with Charlie. Now, imagine, just for a second, leaving everything you know, the sun, your friends, being anonymous in a big city for a place you basically expect to be totally unremarkable. Maybe even kind of miserable.
Yeah, low expectations.
That's exactly where Bella starts. That feeling of being displaced, of landing somewhere you think is going to be a letdown.
Yeah.
It makes her instantly relatable, I think, to anyone who's ever had to make a tough move or start over.
Absolutely. And Bella's whole initial persona, her really low expectations for Forks, they're crucial for setting things up. She has this almost tangible desire to just be invisible,
Blend into the wallpaper.
Exactly. Just get through high school without drawing any attention.
Right.
She's not your typical peppy, outgoing hero. She's awkward, spends a lot of time in her own head, struggles a bit socially. And this quietness, this sort of melancholy vibe she has, it definitely sets up her vulnerability, sure.
Yeah.
But it also subtly hints at the massive transformation she's going to go through later.
Right, the contrast.
Yeah, her initial discomfort and wanting to be unseen becomes this stark contrast to the totally extraordinary, supernatural stuff that's about to crash into her life.
And Forks itself,
Yeah.
you mentioned it's like a character.
Oh, totally. The constant, oppressive rain, the isolated small town feel. It's not just scenery, it's vital. This secluded, often kind of gloomy setting, it creates this real sense of detachment from the normal, busy human world.
Cuts her off, in a way.
It isolates Bella, yeah. It makes her maybe more open or susceptible to the unusual. And it's the perfect kind of hidden stage for the supernatural to exist, mostly unseen by everyone else. You could even say the dreary weather mirrors her initial internal state, that kind of emotional dampness before things get intense.
Electrifying, maybe.
Maybe. Intense, definitely.
And things do get intense almost right away because pretty much immediately at Forks High, Bella's eyes are drawn to this, well, strikingly unusual group, impossibly beautiful people. The Cullens.
The icons.
Right. These siblings, Edward, Alice, Jasper, Rosalie, and Emmett, they all have this kind of otherworldly beauty, incredibly pale skin, and just this air of deep mystery about them.
They definitely stand out.
Oh, totally. They keep completely to themselves, like this self-contained unit that just pops against the backdrop of a normal small-town high school. But it's Edward Cullen, specifically, who grabs Bella's focus immediately.
And not in a good way at first.
Not at all. His initial reaction to her is just shockingly cold. Hostile, even. He glares at her, like radiating this almost physical dislike that leaves Bella completely baffled.
Yeah, intense reaction.
And that's really where the story pivots, right? From just new girl in town to something much weirder, much more intriguing. And Bella's confusion about Edward just ramps up because after that really awkward, intense first encounter in biology, his seat next to her is just empty for days.
Vanished.
Yeah. And she starts hearing little bits of gossip, the Cullens are weird, they're all adopted by the town doctor, Carlisle Cullen, and his wife Esme. They're somehow different.
The local mystery.
Exactly. Then, when Edward finally comes back to class, his whole demeanor does this crazy 180. The hostility, gone. Replaced by this, unsettling politeness, even surprising friendliness, which honestly just makes Bella even more curious.
It's a hook. A really effective one. And that immediate switch up in Edward's behavior, that intense hostility, then the disappearing act, and this sudden, pivot to being polite. It's a classic narrative trick, but man, it works so well here.
It really does.
It doesn't just create intrigue, it creates a puzzle, a deep one. For Bella, it stops being just about attraction, if it ever was just that. It becomes this enigma she feels she has to figure out.
She needs answers.
Right. This dynamic immediately flags Edward as the other. Someone completely different from anyone she's ever met. She gets cautious, sure, but she's also undeniably, almost obsessively curious, driven to find out what's going on with him.
And you mentioned themes earlier. Isolation.
Yeah, this touches on those deep themes of isolation and belonging that run all through the book. Bella's already feeling totally isolated, out of her element in Forks. The Cullens, and Edward especially, they represent a different kind of isolation. One that's self-imposed, deliberate. They're separate from human society. But within their own family unit, they give off this incredibly powerful, almost enviable vibe of belonging.
Like they have their own world.
Exactly. And it subtly suggests, maybe, that Bella could find her own unique place in a dynamic like that. Something unconventional, but really tight-knit. It hints at fulfilling that deep need for acceptance she seems to have.
Okay, so Bella's life takes this seriously dangerous and frankly impossible turn, surprisingly early on. We're in the school parking lot.
Ah, the van incident, chapter 3, right?
That's the one. A moment of just normal teenage stuff turns into absolute terror. A van skids totally out of control on the ice, and it's heading straight for Bella. Terrifying.
Nightmare scenario.
And then, in this blur, like something out of a movie but real, Edward Cullen is just there, next to her. Seemingly from nowhere.
Instantaneous.
And with impossible speed, impossible strength, he actually stops the van with his bare hands, leaving this deep, undeniable dent where his body blocked it.
The physical evidence. Can't argue with that dent.
Exactly. Bella is just stunned, trying to process his speed, his strength, how he just seemed to ignore physics. It's that undeniable aha moment for her and for us reading along, that something is profoundly, definitely not normal about Edward.
This isn't just, he's a bit weird.
No, this is straight up impossible. A direct, visceral confrontation with something that shouldn't be able to happen.
And this is where the supernatural element really cements itself in Bella's world. And in ours, as readers, it's the first totally undeniable aha moment, like you said.
Yeah.
A clear physical proof that Edward is operating on a whole different level.
Violating laws of nature level.
Completely. Defies basic physics. And yet, Edward, cool as a cucumber, immediately tries to brush it off. Tells Bella she must be mistaken, maybe hit her head. Imagine it.
Gaslighting, almost.
A little bit, yeah. This quick dismissal, despite the obvious proof that dented van, just deepens the mystery. It makes Bella more convinced he's hiding something huge.
Right.
And this scene isn't just about showing off Edward's powers. It's the exact point where that danger and protection theme really clicks into place. Edward isn't just handsome and mysterious anymore.
No.
He's established as both a potential threat, because what is he capable of, and also this powerful, almost primal protector. His ability to save her, the sheer force involved, creates this paradox that's super alluring. The source of the danger is also the reason she's safe.
That's a heavy mix.
It is. And that dual nature starts to define their whole intense connection from this point on.
Then, shifting gears slightly, back in biology class, another moment that seems ordinary but gets weird.
The blood typing, Chapter 5.
Yep, they're doing a blood typing lab. And Bella, well, she has this known, almost pathological thing about blood. Famously faints at the sight of it.
Not uncommon, but hers seems extreme.
It does. She gets dizzy, really distressed, has to leave the classroom. And Edward, interestingly, skips the lab entirely himself. And then, with this quiet urgency, he escorts her to the nurse's office.
Attentive.
Very. It seems like this small act of kindness, right, deepens their connection a bit, even though it's just about her feeling faint. It's subtle, but it feels significant somehow.
But it raises this incredibly important question, doesn't it? It's powerful foreshadowing, really subtle. Why is Edward so hyper-aware of Bella's discomfort with blood? And why does he avoid the lab?
Good point. Didn't think about his avoidance.
It hints very strongly at what he confesses later, that her blood, her specific scent, calls to him more powerfully than any other humans. It just screams, predator fighting protector.
Ah, okay.
His dodging the lab, which is basically a direct confrontation with blood, combined with his immediate, almost instinctive focus on Bella's distress. It sets the stage for the real, perilous nature of their bond, and the huge ongoing struggle he faces just being near her.
So it's not just him being nice.
It's way more complex than that. It's raw, biological, even existential conflict already playing out right there in the high school hallway.
Okay, so moving away from school now, Bella starts exploring Forks and the area around it a bit more. She decides to tag along with some new friends on a trip to La Push Beach. It's nearby, part of the Kilut Reservation.
By Jacob's territory.
Exactly. And there she runs into Jacob Black again. He's a younger guy, really enthusiastic, kind of a family friend from way back.
Cheerful counterpoint to Edward's broodiness.
Totally. And through what seems like just a casual chat, sharing local legends, tribal stories, Jacob drops this bombshell. He reveals an old Kilut legend. The Cullens, according to their ancient stories, are supposedly cold ones.
The tribal term.
Yeah, a tribal term for vampires.
And if you connect this to the bigger picture, like zooming out, this is where the supernatural stuff really gets grounded. It's anchored in this deep, local, historical context.
Not just Bella guessing anymore.
Exactly. It stops being just Bella's intuition or this vague feeling she has about Edward. It gets validated by this long-standing mythology and ancient tribal belief system.
Wow.
This reveal totally shifts Bella's suspicions. It moves from just her private hunch to, cultural lore. It gives her a solid narrative to understand all the weird things happening around Edward.
A framework.
Precisely. It provides this historical, almost anthropological explanation for his impossible powers, framing the supernatural within this ancient local belief that was there long before Bella even showed up. This info from Jacob. It's a crucial turning point. It gives Bella the words, the history, to start understanding the impossible. It takes her from personal mystery to, a shared ancient secret.
And all these clues, these impossible moments, they're just piling up, right? Which leads Bella to this really terrifying, pivotal experience in Port Angeles, the nearby city.
Her rescue. Chapter 8.
Yeah. She's out dress shopping with friends, wanders off alone for just a second, and boom, things get dangerous fast. She finds herself cornered in this dark alley by these really threatening guys.
Every person's nightmare.
Totally. And just before things get really bad, Edward appears dramatically in his silver Volvo. His eyes are described as blazing with this almost unnatural intensity, and he rescues her. Just like that.
Swoops in.
It's this moment of pure, heart-stopping fear, followed by massive relief. But then, over dinner afterwards, his protective side gets even more intense. He's possessive, almost aggressive in how watchful he is. And it's during that dinner that he really starts hinting that her wild guesses about him, maybe they aren't so wild after all. Maybe they're terrifyingly accurate.
Right, and this isn't just a simple rescue. It's this visceral, almost primal display of Edward's dangerous absolute protectiveness. That detail about his eyes blazing, that's key.
Why?
It's like a visual sign of his raw vampire power, barely held in check. And this whole act, it profoundly deepens Bella's attraction to him, even though it's becoming crystal clear how much danger he brings into her life.
The paradox again.
Exactly. The very presence of this powerful, potentially lethal being is what makes her feel safe. This event really locks in that danger and protection theme. It makes it undeniable that Edward isn't just attractive and mysterious, but he's also capable of huge, life-saving power used fiercely just for her.
Which just draws her in more.
Paradoxically, yes. it only boosts his allure for her. It forces Bella to really confront her own rapidly growing feelings, even as the scary truth about Edward starts getting terrifyingly, undeniably clear. It really highlights that intoxicating pull of being fiercely protected,
Yeah.
even if the protector is, well, dangerous.
Okay, so after all of that, the van, the blood reaction, the tribal legends, the Port Angeles rescue, Bella finally just confronts him. Direct.
Finally, Chapter 9.
She lays it out with total conviction. She
Yeah.
believes he's a vampire. And instead of denying it this time, he responds with this really grave warning. Tells her she has to stay away from him for her own good.
Pushes her away for her safety.
But Bella, in this moment of just extraordinary, almost reckless belief in her feelings, she refuses. She tells him straight up. She's already drawn to him way beyond reason, beyond fear. It's a huge declaration, right? Establishing her own choice in this increasingly dangerous situation.
And what's just fascinating here is the immediate complication Edward's confession brings. He admits he's a mind reader, right? A
Yeah.
powerful psychic vampire. Yeah. But her mind, totally blank to him. He can't read her thoughts at all, which makes her the ultimate challenging prey, not just for bad guys like James later, but for Edward himself.
Oh, interesting twist.
It is. When Edward starts revealing more his speed, his strength, and especially this inability to read her mind, it just adds another layer, this unique, almost fated feeling connection between them.
Makes her special to him.
Exactly. And he admits, with his tortured honesty, that he's been fighting this overwhelming urge to kill her since the moment they met. Her blood just calls to him like no other humans ever has.
Wow. That's intense.
That is the absolute core of the forbidden love theme right there. His very nature, his existence is dangerous to her, yet he's compelled by her beyond control. This highlights that constant, agonizing predator-protector thing going on inside him. His struggle is nonstop, a minute-by-minute fight of willpower. And her being there, it's both his greatest temptation and his deepest desire.
And somehow, their relationship actually deepens after this. It moves beyond just being drawn to each other into this bond of, like, profound understanding. Even though Edward keeps desperately reminding her, being near me is dangerous, potentially lethal.
He keeps trying to warn her off.
He does, but then Bella learns something that just completely flips her perception, not just at Edward, but of his whole family and maybe vampires in general.
The big reveal about their diet, Chapter 11.
Exactly. They don't drink human blood, they hunt animals instead. And they refer to themselves, with this kind of dark humor, as vegetarians in vampire terms.
A game changer.
Totally. This revelation just changes everything she thought she knew about these creatures of the night.
Yeah, this vegetarian lifestyle is absolutely critical. It establishes the Cullens as this distinct, almost revolutionary kind of vampire within the lore we usually know.
How so?
It's way more than just what they eat. It's a profound, deliberate moral choice. It's choosing identity and choice over that primal, monstrous instinct.
Resisting their nature.
Exactly. This conscious decision allows them to have this shaky integration into human society, even if they're always on the edges, keeping up appearances. This choice to resist their basic predatory urges, it transforms them from just monsters into beings with real complexity, agency, and a unique ethical code.
Sets them apart.
Completely. It's a fundamental part of who they are that immediately separates the Cullens from the usual bloodthirsty vampires we see in stories. It shows this conscious effort to resist what they are, to choose compassion and self-control, and that's what makes their existence and Edward's ability to love Bella without killing her even possible. It allows for empathy and connection, not just fear and destruction. It's a huge statement about self-mastery, of the power of choice, even when facing overwhelming instinct.
So what does this all mean for their relationship? It means it's, well, complicated, unbelievably complicated. It's a love story built on this foundation of constant internal war for Edward and this profound, almost reckless acceptance from Bella.
A very unique dynamic.
So Edward really starts letting Bella into his world now, right? A world that was hidden before. He starts by taking her on this absolutely dizzying, exhilarating ride through the deep forests around Forks.
The Treetop Run, Chapter 12.
Yeah. He's leaping effortlessly between treetops, moving so fast the world just blurs around them, running faster than a car. It's this visceral display of his impossible abilities, terrifying but also kind of liberating.
A physical demonstration of what he is.
Totally. And during this wild ride, he explains the full extent of vampire powers. Not just his, but the unique traits of everyone in his extraordinary family.
Fill in the blanks for her.
Right. Like Carlisle, the dad figure, he has incredible compassion and this centuries-long commitment to saving human lives as a doctor. Alice has this rare gift of clairvoyance. She sees glimpses of the future. Super useful.
Invaluable for them.
Jasper can influence emotions, which is powerful and kind of subtle. And Rosalie and Emmett, they're defined by their immense strength and their fiercely protective nature.
And this direct showing of power, Edward being willing to share his family's secrets, it connects right back to that theme of isolation and belonging for the Cullens.
Oh, so?
Well, they're this incredibly tight, disciplined family, right?
Uh-huh.
But they have to be isolated from human society because of what they are. Each member's unique power contributes to their collective strength, letting them maintain this unconventional life they've chosen.
They rely on each other.
Totally. So Edward showing Bella this intimate part of his world, demonstrating his own power and introducing her to his family's individual gifts, it's a massive step. Full disclosure territory.
A sign of trust.
Huge trust.
Yeah.
Inviting her into this secret world where they find both their unity and their necessary separation from humanity. It emphasizes that, yeah, they're immensely powerful, but they're also this cohesive unit, bound by these shared choices and this singular goal, live ethically against their nature. This vulnerability, this openness from Edward, it just cements that deepening bond between them. It signals how important Bella's becoming with his very carefully guarded world.
And as their bond gets even more intense, more unique, Edward shares even more intimate stuff. Some of it is, frankly, kind of shocking. He talks about the hypersensory world of being a vampire, revealing that Bella's son is just overwhelmingly tempting, like nothing he's ever experienced in his very long life.
The unique lure.
Yeah. And he admits, with this really tortured honesty, that he's loved her almost since the first moment he saw her. But he's been constantly fighting his predatory instincts to protect her from himself. It's this constant internal war he's waging.
And that confession just powerfully highlights that predator versus protector dynamic that defines Edward and the whole central tension of their relationship. His love for Bella isn't just emotion, it's a constant, visceral, physical struggle against his own inherent nature, against every instinct designed for survival and consumption.
That sounds exhausting.
It underscores the profound paradox. The very thing that makes him love her, her unique scent, her unparalleled appeal, is the exact same thing that makes him want to devour her. This constant internal battle is what truly defines Edward's character. It lifts him beyond just a simple romantic hero and adds this incredible sustained tension to their romance.
High stakes.
Absolutely. It's a daily, minute-by-minute test of his willpower, his self-control, and his unwavering commitment to that vegetarian choice. It gives their romance this sense of high-stakes, almost tragic intensity.
And then comes one of the most unexpected, maybe even unsettling details about their very unconventional bond.
The watching her sleep revelation, chapters 13 to 14.
Yeah. Edward reveals he's been secretly watching Bella sleep for months, long before she even knew his secret.
Which is objectively too.
Objectively, yeah. But the truly fascinating and deeply weird part is Bella's reaction. She's not frightened. There's no terror, no disgust, which you'd absolutely expect from anyone finding that out.
What's profoundly fascinating there is indeed Bella's just astonishingly calm, almost accepting response. It speaks volumes about her unique pull towards the unknown, her inherent comfort with the other, and her profound willingness to accept Edward completely. Even his darkest, most possessive, and, yeah, objectively creepy sides.
She just accepts it.
She does. This isn't just simple romance anymore. It's a deep dive into an almost obsessive connection, a bond that just blows past conventional boundaries of privacy, safety, personal space. Her total lack of fear is testament to her deep, almost instinctual trust and acceptance of Edward, despite how chilling his confession really is.
It suggests something about her, too.
It really does. It shows her feelings for him run way deeper than social norms or even arguably self-preservation. And it's absolutely crucial for their relationship to keep going. It establishes her almost supernatural comfort with his supernatural self, letting their highly unconventional love actually flourish. It hints at this shared tendency to break boundaries that binds them together.
Okay, so, next big step. Edward invites Bella to meet the whole family. Despite being, understandably, super nervous, she's determined to make a good impression.
High-pressure situation.
Totally. So she goes to the Cullen house, and she sees their refined lifestyle up close. This grand, elegant house filled with art, classical music always playing, and the really eerie, complete absence of any human food anywhere.
Stark contrast.
Definitely a stark contrast to her life. And Carlisle, the patriarch, this figure of immense wisdom and calm, he takes the time to share his really compelling backstory, spanning centuries, explaining the whole philosophical basis for how they live.
And this backstory, Carlisle's origin story, is absolutely pivotal. You have to understand it to get the unique morality of the whole Cullen family.
Right.
He was turned into a vampire way back in the 17th century, a really brutal time when vampires were just savage predators killing humans indiscriminately. But right from the start of his existence, Carlisle rejected that. He refused the violent vampire lifestyle.
Chose a different path immediately.
Immediately. Instead, he consciously trained himself, over centuries, painstakingly, to resist human blood, choosing instead a life dedicated to preserving human life by becoming a doctor. This is the ultimate, profound expression of identity and choice for a vampire.
Incredible willpower.
Unbelievable. His deliberate decision to embrace compassion and healing, rather than giving in to his predatory instincts, set the entire blueprint for the Cullen Coven. It's the reason they are fundamentally different from other vampires. It's why they can coexist, however carefully, with humanity.
He's the foundation.
He is. His unparalleled self-control, his deep ethical commitment, his unwavering empathy. They serve as the moral compass for the whole family, allowing them to forge this new, more humane path for vampires that nobody thought was possible before. It's a story of profound will and transformation.
So, the Cullens aren't just powerful, they're ethical vampires, which makes them this revolutionary outlier in all the supernatural stories we know. They've made this conscious, really difficult choice to carve out a different way to exist, one that allows for their unique bond and their collective desire to protect life, not take it. This moral foundation really sets the stage for their role in Bella's life and the dangers ahead.
Absolutely. It defines who they are and why they react the way they do.
Okay, this brings us to one of the most, I think, iconic and visually just cool scenes in the whole Twilight Saga, the legendary vampire baseball game.
Ah, yes. Chapter 17, Thunder Required.
Exactly. Edward takes Bella to watch the Cullens play their famously super high-speed, thunderously loud sport. It's a game they can only play during massive thunderstorms, because the huge cracks of thunder are the only thing loud enough to mask the incredible explosive sound of their impacts when they play.
Imagine the force.
Right. The raw power, the speed, it must be incredible. It needs that kind of natural cover.
In this scene, it's such an important moment of normalcy, relatively speaking, and family unity for the Cullens. It's this rare glimpse into their unique way of life when they can cut loose a bit.
Lets them be themselves.
Exactly. It humanizes them, shows their playful rivalry, their teamwork, their capacity for just leisure and joy, which makes the disruption that follows, the sudden intrusion of pure danger, feel even more impactful, more jarring.
Sets up the contrast.
Perfectly. It's this brief, almost idyllic moment where they can be completely themselves, without human limits or needing to hide. It highlights what Bella's being invited into this strange, powerful, yes, but also deeply loving and connected family. This moment of lightness is essential because it lets us connect with the Cullens on a deeper level, reinforces their unique identity before the threat comes, and shatters that fragile peace. It shows they have a life beyond just survival, a life of chosen connections and shared fun.
And shattered it is, in a really abrupt, terrifying way. Because their game, their rare moment of freedom, it's suddenly interrupted when 3 nomadic vampires just appear.
The unwelcome guests, James, Laurent, and Victoria, Chapter 18.
That's them. James, the relentless tracker, Laurent, who seems maybe more diplomatic but is still dangerous, and Victoria, his cunning, vengeful partner. They just stumble upon the game, sensing the unusual gathering of so many vampires, and immediately their attention snaps to Bella, the only human there.
And while the newcomers seem friendly at first, or at least kind of neutral, James's whole demeanor shifts instantly, chillingly. The second he catches Bella's unique human scent.
He knows.
Oh, he knows. He becomes fixated, a predator locking onto his ultimate target. And James isn't just some random bad guy. He's a tracker, a specific kind of vampire who gets his kicks from hunting the most difficult, elusive prey.
So Bella is like the ultimate challenge.
Exactly. This is where that core danger and protection theme just explodes into full-blown conflict. James isn't just a threat. He embodies that pure, untamed, primal, predatory nature that Edward is constantly fighting inside himself. Bella's unique, irresistible scent, plus her weird immunity to Edward's mind reading. That makes her the absolute, ultimate, most coveted prize for a tracker like James.
He sees her as a trophy.
Pretty much. An anomaly, an irresistible challenge he feels compelled to conquer, consume, destroy, The Cullens, they immediately close ranks around Bella. That playful atmosphere vanishes instantly, replaced by this fierce, unified determination. Edward is furious, desperate. He instantly gets how serious this is and insists they have to separate now. Convinced the only way to protect Bella is to make her vanish from James's radar. His desperation just highlights the true, profound danger that has just walked onto the field.
The game is definitely over.
Oh yeah, the real hunt has just begun.
So with James now hunting them, this deadly high-stakes game of cat and mouse kicks off, and it really pushes Bella to her absolute limits.
The escape plan, chapters 19 to 21.
Right. Bella has to reluctantly say this heartbreaking goodbye to Charlie. She stages this really convincing fight to make him think she's just running away back to Phoenix to be with her mom.
Deception for protection.
It's painful, but it's part of the Cullens' desperate plan to keep her safe. So she flees with Alice and Jasper, the two Cullens, whose powers are kind of best suited for evasion and protection, right? Alice sees the future, Jasper controls emotions.
The protection detail. And Bella's decision to stage that fight, to leave Charlie like that, it's a profoundly significant act of self-sacrifice. It really shows how fast she's changing.
She's not passive anymore.
Not at all. It showcases her growing willingness to put herself in serious harm's way for the greater good, even if it means lying to her dad who she loves, causing him pain. While she's in hiding with Alice and Jasper, she gets increasingly restless, just burdened by the thought of her loved ones being in danger because of her.
Survivor's guilt, almost.
Something like that. And during this time, she learns more about Alice's incredible visions and Jasper's subtle but really powerful empathic abilities. Alice's clairvoyance gives them these crucial, often terrifying glimpses of the future, and they consistently confirm James is relentless. He will not stop until Bella is dead.
No escape.
It highlights not just Alice's invaluable power, but also the terrifying, single-minded nature of James's hunt. There's no getting away from him without a direct fight. He's absolutely unyielding, like this force of nature driven by pure predatory instinct. That sense of inescapable destiny really hangs heavy here, as Alice's visions confirm just how dire the situation is. It emphasizes that confrontation is inevitable.
And James proves just how cunning, how manipulative a predator he really is.
Yeah.
He uses Bella's deepest, most primal fear against her, the threat to her mom.
Gets her where it hurts most.
Totally. He calls Bella directly, using this distorted recording of her mother, Renee, as bait. Claims he's holding her hostage. Then he tells Bella to come alone to a specific place, a ballet studio from her childhood, a place representing innocence, vulnerability.
The trap is set.
And Bella, in this act of just staggering courage and self-sacrifice, without telling Alice or Jasper, she ditches her protectors. She goes to confront him, believing she absolutely has to save her mother, no matter the cost.
That moment, it's a colossal turning point for Bella, a definitive act of character transformation. It shows her absolute willingness to risk everything for the people she loves, even walking straight into a meticulously laid trap.
She chooses to act.
Completely. It encapsulates her journey from that shy, kind of self-effacing teenager to someone capable of profound courage. Someone willing to sacrifice her own life for love, especially for her mother. Her decision to go alone, despite the obvious overwhelming danger. It demonstrates her fierce loyalty, her selflessness, her proactive agency. It proves she's worlds away from the invisible, awkward girl we met at the start.
It's heroic.
It's an act of heroic self-sacrifice that defines her character from then on. It solidifies her bond with those she protects, shows the depth of her love, and elevates her from just being the object of protection to being an active, determined player in her own survival.
So Bella gets to the ballet studio, this place that should hold innocent memories, only to walk right into a nightmare. She realizes super quickly James tricked her. He never had her mom.
The cruel manipulation revealed.
He just lured her there to isolate her, to play with his food, basically. He taunts her mercilessly, revealing with this chilling malice that he's filming the whole horrific encounter for Edward to watch later, forcing his rival to witness Bella's suffering.
Psychological torture, too.
Absolutely. Then he attacks. He overpowers Bella easily, brutally breaking her leg. You hear the crack, and then sinks his fangs into her hand, injecting his potent vampire venom.
And this is the true, visceral moment of peril, where the threat of the vampire world is fully, horrifyingly realized on Bella's human body. The bite. That's the absolute climax of the danger.
Because of the venom.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
It introduces the direct, terrifying consequence, immediately raising the stakes to Bella's potential agonizing transformation into a vampire herself, which is a fate she has both feared and paradoxically maybe secretly desired as a way to be with Edward forever.
the ultimate consequence.
It's the ultimate embodiment of the danger that comes with being in Edward's world. a tangible, irreversible mark. This scene forces both Bella and Edward, even though he's not there yet, to confront the most extreme, life-altering consequences of their forbidden connection. It's a point of no return, a battle for her very humanity.
But of course, just in the nick of time, Edward and the Cullens arrive. Dramatically, a blur of superhuman speed.
The cavalry arrives.
Totally. Edward immediately launches into this desperate, ferocious fight with James. A battle of raw power, ancient hatred. While Edward fights James, the other Cullens work with terrifying efficiency. They dismember James, burn his remains to stop any regeneration, making sure the tracker is truly, utterly gone.
No coming back from that.
Meanwhile, with calm precision, Carlisle, the doctor, and Alice, with her intuition, they tend to Bella's horrific injuries. The broken leg, the venom spreading from the bite.
And then Edward faces this incredibly critical, agonizing decision right there in the heat of the moment.
To let her turn or not.
Exactly. He absolutely refuses to let Bella be turned into a vampire, even though she's pleading with him in agony and fear. Turn me. Let me join your world. Let the pain stop. He insists she deserves a full, normal human life.
He chooses for her, in a way.
He makes the painful choice to endure sucking the venom out himself, a risky act to save her humanity, even if it means denying her desperate wish in that moment to join his immortal state. This just reinforces Edward's fundamental struggle, that conflict between his vampire nature and his deep moral convictions, that core identity and choice theme.
Love and sacrifice.
It's a powerful statement about love and sacrifice. He chooses to prioritize her human life, her future, over his own desire to have her with him forever in his world. It's an act of profound self-denial, true protective love, even if it goes against what Bella herself wants right then. It highlights that his love isn't just possessive, it's truly protective of her agency, her humanity. A sharp contrast to James's purely destructive intent.
And despite this absolutely harrowing, nearly fatal experience, their relationship, having survived all that extreme danger, those life-altering choices, it somehow emerges stronger, more irrevocably bonded than ever before.
Trial by fire, quite literally.
Okay, so in the epilogue, we get this sense of uneasy peace. Settling in, but only temporarily. Bella and Edward actually go to the school prom, the quintessential high school thing.
Trying for normal, chapter 25.
Exactly. Bella is still on crutches from the whole James ordeal, and she initially believes Edward brought her there to finally turn her into a vampire, to complete her transformation into his world. It's this moment loaded with anticipation, unspoken hopes maybe.
Yeah, and that scene perfectly highlights the ongoing, really palpable tension between the human world Bella seems increasingly willing to just leave behind and the supernatural vampire world Edward is so committed to.
The two worlds clashing.
Right. It's this poignant moment of normalcy. The prom set against this utterly abnormal backdrop, where Edward is really just fulfilling a promise he made to give her a taste of a normal teenage experience. This prom night becomes this potent symbol of the human stuff she's willing to give up for him, but also what Edward is desperately trying to preserve for her humanity.
He wants her to have both, or choose human.
He wants her to choose human, definitely. It emphasizes their fundamental differences, the choices they keep facing, and Edward's unwavering commitment to keeping her human, even while she's yearning for immortality with him. It just underscores the profound weight of the choices they're making or not making for each other.
And as the story wraps up, we're left with this really precarious, uneasy piece. Because Victoria, the cunning, vengeful survivor from James's little group, she's out there, watching from afar.
The lingering threat.
A chilling, silent threat, meticulously planning her revenge against Edward and the Cullens for destroying James. So even though the immediate danger seems gone, the story leaves us with this chilling hint of what's definitely coming next. The saga is far from over.
Yeah, that lingering shadow of Victoria ensures that the danger and protection theme stays right there, always present. A constant low hum beneath the surface of their fragile peace. It serves as this stark reminder to us, the audience, that this little break, it's just that a temporary pause before the next storm inevitably hits.
Cuts up the sequel.
Meticulously sets the stage for future conflicts. It guarantees that the unique perils of Bella and Edward's forbidden love, a love bought at such a high price, are nowhere near resolved.
Yeah.
It leaves you with this sense of lingering suspense, knowing that the consequences of their actions and Edward's past are still very much alive and plotting their next move.
So what does this all really mean for us? What are the biggest, most resonant takeaways from this first deep dive into Bella and Edward's world, this origin story of a phenomenon?
Well, I think we can pull out several key themes from the source material that really drove this story and maybe explain its huge appeal. First, and probably the most central, is forbidden love. Bella and Edward's romance explicitly defies not just, social norms, but biological instinct, logical reason.
Everything says no.
Pretty much. It's a love that is inherently dangerous, where one person's very existence poses a fundamental threat to the other. And this built-in peril isn't a turnoff. Paradoxically, it's a powerful part of its allure. It pushes the boundaries of what love can supposedly endure.
Exactly. And that theme of identity and choice is just woven through every chapter, isn't it? But especially with Edward and the Cullens. Edward particularly struggles constantly between his basic vampire nature and his deeply held moral convictions.
The internal battle.
Yeah. His vegetarian choice, deciding to drink animal blood instead of human, and his refusal to turn Bella even when she begs him to, those are prime examples of this huge internal conflict. It's not just about what they are, it's about what they choose to be, which shows incredible willpower and this unique ethical system they've built.
Which leads right into danger and protection. Bella is constantly, flirting with mortal danger just by being in Edward's world. Her scent alone is like a beacon for other predators. And the Cullens, especially Edward, are always there, fiercely protecting her, often at great personal risks.
Always saving her.
It's this tension-filled dance between undeniable attraction and inherent peril, where safety is weirdly found within the very source of the danger. This dynamic highlights that intoxicating feeling of being fiercely protected, even by a force that could theoretically destroy you.
And then there's isolation and belonging. Both Bella and Edward, in their own ways, live on the fringes, right? Bella feels awkward, out of place, struggles to connect. The Cullens, being supernatural, have to hide who they are, living in this self-imposed exile. They find this profound, almost singular sense of acceptance and belonging only with each other and within that unique, tight-knit Cullen family unit. Their shared otherness becomes the bedrock of their deep connection.
And lastly, you've got that powerful, defining dynamic of predator versus protector. Edward embodies both, simultaneously, all the time. His very nature as a vampire, immense power driven by bloodlust, makes him a literal predator.
Can't escape that.
But his profound, self-sacrificing love for Bella forces him to be her fierce protector, constantly fighting his own most basic desires. This inherent agonizing tension is what ramps up the drama, the passion, the perpetual conflict of their relationship. It's a battle fought inside him every single moment, making their love story a real testament to willpower triumphing over instinct.
And if you look at their individual journeys just across this first novel, the character arcs are pretty dramatic. They show real personal growth. Bella Swan goes from being this shy, isolated, almost passive teenager
Yeah, quite passive at the start.
to someone willing to risk everything. Her own life, her humanity, for love, and for the people she cares about. She finds this inner courage and really finds her voice through this extraordinary, dangerous connection.
And Edward Cullen's arc is just as compelling. It's a journey of profound rediscovery for him.
Yeah.
He shifts from this self-imposed exile, from deep human emotions, living in this kind of detached, almost sad existence for centuries.
Waiting for something.
Maybe. And he rediscovers profound passion, connection, even a new kind of humanity through his intense love for Bella. He learns to truly embrace vulnerability and risk again. And the Cullens as a whole, they also have a subtle but important arc here. They solidify as this united, disciplined family who consistently choose morality over instinct, cementing their unique, revolutionary place in supernatural lore. Their collective choice to live differently gets reinforced through all the trials they face together.
Wow. We've taken quite the journey through Stephenie Meyer's Twilight today. From Bella landing in Rainy Forks, all the way through that life-threatening climax with James, the tracker, and the huge choices that followed, defining this really unique love story.
It covers a lot of ground, that first book.
It really does. And it's clear, like our sources pointed out, this is way more than just a teenage vampire romance. It's a really tension-filled dance between desire and danger, between deep morality and overwhelming instinct.
Absolutely. And its enduring appeal, its staying power, its unparalleled ability to capture that intoxicating, all-consuming rush of first love, but set against this incredibly compelling and perilous supernatural backdrop that's undeniable.
It hit a nerve.
It really did. And while critics often focus on, the melodrama or the perceived flaws, sometimes I think they miss the core emotional appeal. that raw intensity of that initial obsessive passion that just resonates so deeply with so many readers. It's a story that taps into these deep, universal human desires for connection, for belonging, for acceptance. Even when faced with something extraordinary and terrifying, it's about finding your place.
Hmm.
Even if that place defies all conventional logic.
So this deep dive into Twilight, it really raises an important question, I think, for you to consider. In a love story defined by such intense desire and such inherent constant danger, where do we as individuals draw the line between passion and peril?
Good question.
And how much of ourselves are we truly willing to risk for a connection that just defies all logic, all conventional understanding? Think about the profound choices Bella and Edward make, the immense consequences they face, and what it truly means to love someone whose very nature, their very existence, puts you in constant existential jeopardy.
Heavy thoughts to end on.
Something to chew on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive.